Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale diecast Iron Man figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at the D23 exclusive Avengers Campus Iron Man Mark 80. I just want to say it's an absolute honor to be the first to review this and to play my part in announcing this piece to the world. If you find yourself heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new Hot Toys pre-release figure review goes live on the channel. Just because I have this early does not mean I'm going to go easy on it and just sing its praises by default. This is going to be a proper review through and through. As for the box art, it's made of this thick, sturdy cardboard, just like what we've seen with all of their other die-cast Iron Man figures. Up front, an image of the Avengers Campus Mark 80, done in this shiny metallic finish so light does bounce off the surface. His name in the middle, then down below, an Avengers Campus logo. I'm not sure if this is something that's going to appear on every Mark 80 box, but the warning pretty much just says this guy includes button cell batteries. On the side of the box, honeycomb patterns in these red stripes, some tech circuitry bits and pieces, some white thrown in the mix, as well as Iron Man Mark 80 in metallic silver foil. Around the back, warnings, legal information, as well as Hot Toys store locations. This blank spot down below would have been the perfect place for that button cell battery warning sticker. There's already another warning down in the corner here, so it would have fit right in alongside all the rest of this legal mumbo jumbo. On the other side of the box, we've got an Avengers logo etched into the surface of the foam. I still really like the diecast Iron Man figure unboxing experience. Sliding out the foam block from the cardboard box and then lifting off the etched lid that says Mark 80 on it to reveal the figure inside. Yeah, it really does never get old. First in-hand impressions for the Mark 80. He's quite substantial in hand, being a diecast figure of course, cold to the touch. And I'm already noticing quite a few changes from the Mark 85, which is technically the figure that this one is based off. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. It's done in the usual Hot Toys hexagonal style. It matches really nicely with the previous D23 exclusive being Avengers Campus Spidey. The red is more vibrant for the web logo up on top of Spidey's base as compared to the Avengers A on Iron Man's. Still, the design is cohesive enough between the two that they do look like they're part of the same line. Unfortunately, they stuck with the no nameplate thing, and I really would have liked to have at the very least seen Avengers Campus printed on the front of the base. Up top, we've got a bendable flight pole, as well as a spring-loaded waist clamp. However, I would have also liked to have seen a crotch grabber included, because as we all know, these bases are compatible with crotch grabbers as well. If you're including a base like this Hot Toys, please just give us both options. Let's get all of the reuse out of the way first. He comes with the two lobster claw blasters. I've always loved this almost grill detail on the inside of the lobster claws. I will show you what he looks like wearing one of these a little bit later. The energy sword makes a return, and it is identical to the one that we got with the Mark 85. Except for the fact that the Mark 80 actually comes with proper gripping hands so he can hold onto this piece. The blades are made of translucent blue plastic, but they've added this almost frosted layer of paint on the top part of it, just to make it look like it could foreseeably be an energy weapon. The most boring of the new accessories perhaps, we do get a printed Stark Industries complex blueprint. This isn't paper, this is a nice, thick, sturdy cardstock. Mine did come warped out of the box. I'm sure if I was to place this under his display base for a while, it would flatten out no problem. Easily my favorite accessory of the lot, we get shawarma. It's not often that we receive food items like this from Hot Toys, but with Spidey we got a churro and a can of soda pop. Now with Iron Man, we get shawarma. I'm tempted to maybe give this to Deadpool just because of, him and Wolverine eating shawarma at the end of the movie. It does say Shawarma Palace on the bottom part of this shiny metallic wrapper. These two accessories go hand in hand. We get the Iron Man version of the spider drone. You can actually modify these at Disneyland. You can pop some Iron Man bits on these or make it more Spider-Man themed if you so choose. This is the one that came with Avengers Campus Spidey. And I'm pleased to report that the Iron Man drone is a brand new mold. Even the legs are completely different. They've popped on this teeny tiny lobster claw blaster on the front leg, and that is a really nice little Easter egg. Every single one of the legs has a ball joint at the end, so they're all articulated. You can remove him from this translucent plastic gauntlet piece if you want to. I reckon I'm going to slide this on Iron Man's forearm and have him looking down at the Spider-Bot permanently in the collection. And lastly, a full array of brand new hands specific to the Mark 80. They've added these armor plates on the back of every single one of the fingers, and that shiny metallic silver paint, I reckon works here. It just adds a little bit more contrast. They've then gone ahead and changed out the armor plating as well. These lines, they're completely absent. These armor plates are a lot smoother. So these are the articulated finger hands. We can move them on multiple joints. Yes, you can do the rude finger if you want. And we've got some translucent repulsors on the inside of the palms. But these ones are technically meant for repulsor blasting poses because the wrist peg port is at an angle, and the hand armor does flare up, so it allows you to tilt his hands up at the correct angle. Two gripping hands, and the fingers are flexible enough so that you can open the grip and pop the sword in there without having to go and find a hairdryer or pop them in boiling water. And lastly, two closed fists already installed on him out of the box. What we're going to do now is get the Mark 80 himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. This Mark 80 might be the straw that breaks the camel's back for a lot of Iron Man collectors. Because Hot Toys have been steadily pumping out more and more of these bad boys, whether it's 2.0s or 3.0s, or heavy retools like this release. I'm personally not sick of Iron Man yet. I'm getting there, trust me, I am. But this figure brings a lot of newness to the table. I was expecting 100% reuse from top to bottom, reused head sculpt, reused armor, reused accessories. But he's not that. They've added in some newly sculpted pieces, they've changed up the color scheme, and he's actually genuinely based off something. This isn't one of those weird Chrome exclusives. This is Iron Man from Disneyland. So if you've got fond memories of visiting Avengers Campus with your family and you took photos with Mark 80 Iron Man, this might just be something you're interested in. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the Mark 80's helmet. While the bulk of the sculpt work is shared between this guy and the 85 for the back part of the helmet and the neck piece, the faceplate is actually brand new for the Mark 80. They've added these vents up on top, which remind me of the Mark 50, but this isn't the Mark 50 faceplate either, so it is genuinely a brand new sculpt. The gold is slightly less warm in tone compared to the 85 helmet, and they've done away with all of the pitting and scratching and subtle battle damage on the surface. If you're wondering if swapping the faceplate is possible between the two, they actually changed the way their Iron Man helmets work with the Mark 85 and now, of course, with the Mark 80. So you can't switch out the faceplate. You'll have to change out the entire helmet if head swapping is what you're after. I'll do my best to try and point out all of the changes for the Mark 80. If I miss something, it doesn't really matter because towards the end of the video we'll be doing a spot the difference segment where we compare this suit to the Mark 85. Around the back, this entire back plate is brand new, and unfortunately that means that the Mark 80 is not compatible with the lightning refocuser, the Starfish of Doom from the Mark 85. I did try and attach it, it just wouldn't go on there. They've added all of these little honeycomb grill pieces, including on the back bicep guards, and I really like them. There's a wash over the top so the honeycomb grills pop, and it adds some extra visual interest to the surface that I reckon does make up for the lack of chipping and pitting and weathering. There's a lot of newness on the front of the Mark 80. He's got much more defined traps, they're nice and rounded. Big, bulky shoulder pads, these are spring-loaded, they just sit in place perfectly. And an all-new chest piece, with some extra bits that hang down over the top of the abs section to try and blend the two pieces together a little bit better as compared to the Mark 85. You can remove the chest plate, and even the detail underneath is brand new. The arc reactor is significantly larger for the Mark 80. Then they've popped in some more of that honeycomb grill detail around the front. That might just be one of my favorite changes with the Mark 80. I don't know, man, this suit is really starting to grow on me. The more I look at it with the mini arc reactors, and I'm seeing just so much of the grill detail work popping through, it's winning me over. Previously, if you'd asked me which nanotech suit was my favorite, I would have picked the Mark 85 hands down. Now that I'm seeing this guy in hand, the balance between the gunmetal, silver, metallic red, and the satin gold is just right for me. Nothing is overdone and nothing is too in your face. Battery compartment for the repulsor light up effect and also the lobster claw blasters, which we'll attach in just a second, is actually in the bicep. So they're using a bespoke clip connector mechanism to transfer power from the bicep battery compartment all the way down to the wrist peg, which is a ball joint and also has an LED on the end of it. But I quickly wanted to touch on one of my favorite bits of engineering on the Mark 85 and now, of course, the Mark 80. When you bend his elbow, it looks like it wouldn't go very far because the bicep guard does hang down in front of the elbow joint. Looks can be deceiving because when you bend it, the bicep armor just moves up and out of the way effortlessly and very smoothly. Then, once you've done the pose, you can bring it back down, close up the gap, and now it looks way more seamless. I forgot how bright the LEDs were inside these lobster claws, and with them adding some translucent plastic on either side of these things, it just makes for a more interesting looking blaster as light bleeds through on the side of the lobster claw itself. I never thought I'd display the Mark 85 with these, and I absolutely haven't, but the Mark 80 is a different beast entirely. So I am considering maybe having him with at least one of these on him in the collection. Back to the stock forearm, let's discuss the hip skirt / waist area. None of this stuff is new, it's all reused from the Mark 80, but I'm still absolutely loving the finish and the mini LED arc reactors. But they have changed the inner thigh plates. You see, some people were going on Taobao and buying some replacement armor plates to try and close up the gap between the bottom of the crotch and then the top of the inner thigh armor. But Hot Toys have done that here with the Mark 80. No longer is there a massive gap. There is a little one, and there's a step down between the inner thigh and then the outer armor piece. But I reckon this does look a lot better than what they gave us with the Mark 85. There's significantly less gold on his legs compared to the 85. The inner thigh pieces may be new, but the front ones and the outer ones and the back ones, that's all reuse. I almost forgot to mention he does have some mini LED arc reactors on his hips. The knee pads also reuse, but down here for the shins, these look similar to the Mark 50s, but this little detail just underneath the knee pad is actually brand new. It's not present on the Mark 50. So I'm going to go out on a limb, I am so sorry, and say that the shins are also new sculpt work. The feet, including these multiple moving panels and bits and pieces that get out of the way for articulation, this is all Mark 85. On the underside, we've got some fully sculpted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, why are they so obsessed with making their Iron Man figures bigger and bigger and bigger every single time? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I promise you, I have not dropped down the Mark 80's legs at the hips to make him look taller. He just genuinely is the taller of the two. If you asked me right here and now which I prefer, yes, the Mark 85 is iconic because it's from Endgame and Tony kicked some serious ass and then did the snap in that movie. Still, something about seeing less gold on the 80 and the introduction of those little grill pieces all over the suit, and the added detail on the helmet, plus the bigger traps and the more defined rounded shoulders, it's all just working for me. And right now, if I had to pick, I am leaning towards the Mark 80. With every millimeter they add to a 1/6 scale Iron Man figure, it just makes the height difference between him and a normal release that little bit less believable. He towers over the previous D23 exclusive, which was the Avengers Campus Web Spidey. I think they look great together, and if they plan on making more Avengers Campus figures, by all means, I hope they do. This could end up being a really nice mini Disneyland collection of Marvel figures. It's time for the Spot the Difference segment. This is going to be rapid fire. Difference number one, the helmet faceplate is new for the Mark 80. The way they've designed the shoulder pads, also new. Much more defined traps on the Mark 80. The back armor plates, new. Same thing can be said with the rear bicep armor. The entire chest portion, including the bits that hang down around the front, brand new. The shape and size of the arc reactor, significantly bigger on the Mark 80. Forearms, completely different. Inner thigh armor sits higher this time round. And then lastly, the design for the shin armor. Going over articulation, starting off with his helmet. It's on a ball joint at the base of the neck and another ball joint up underneath the helmet that's also on a hinge. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, plenty of range for a flight pose. Swivel and pivot side to side. Before you move the arms at the shoulders, make sure you pull them out from the body first. That way there's a bit more of a gap, there's a separation between the shoulder pad and the traps, and that way hopefully you'll avoid any kind of paint rub. The arms will go up to there, the shoulder pads are spring loaded so they'll move along with them. Going forward and back, there's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, and the bicep guard is articulated so it moves up and out of the way. Then for the wrist peg, it's a ball joint. His torso is able to pull apart on two separate joints, so you get a little bit more range out of it, and you can flex these panels forward to get them out of the way and prevent any damage. Crunching forward to there, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. Some of these hip skirt pieces look very sus. That spike right there screams, I want to break on you, so just like some of the other pieces, move the hip skirts out of the way before you articulate the legs. They can drop down a couple of clicks on ratchets to there, going forward and back, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, ratcheted double bend at the knee, going past 90, and then a series of joints and moving pieces down here for the ankles. Going forward and back, you can get some rotation, but the armor plating does sit past the sides of the feet, so it's kind of hard to access. Ankle tilt, and lastly, toe articulation. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, while I appreciate they wanted to keep it simple for the display-based design, I reckon this is a bit too simple. No nameplate, no mention of Avengers Campus. You may not care for Avengers Campus, and therefore you may like this, but I would have preferred something a bit more Disneyland specific. The second annoying thing, and I know this is a lot to ask for what's technically just a repaint with a couple of new parts and pieces, but the button cell batteries, I want them gone. I don't want to have to deal with tiny battery compartments and even tinier batteries anymore. Plus, they don't last very long, so after you spend all of that time installing the mini batteries, you get to admire the look for maybe 5 minutes before you have to go and do it all again and change out the batteries for some fresh ones. The third annoying thing is the print quality for the blueprint for Stark Industries Complex. It's so low res that even up close, under a lens, you can't really make out all of the details, and with this being one of the new accessories for the Mark 80, I expected better print quality. If you have the clean version of the 85 and you're wondering if its nano gauntlet is compatible and power transfers through to the LEDs with the Mark 80, absolutely. It uses the exact same connectors so you can pop the gauntlet right on there. The second cool thing is, I'm so glad I was wrong on this. I was skeptical. I thought that, oh yeah, it's another lazy Iron Man repaint, right? They're going to take the Mark 85, slap some new paint on it, and call it a day. While they have reused a lot of the 85, there's also a substantial amount of new tooling here. The faceplate is new, the shoulder pads are brand new, including the way they actually sit on the body, making him look bulkier. The entire chest piece is new, these pieces as well, the forearms, the shins, the whole back plate, and the back bicep guards. The third cool thing is, if you happen to have a Tony Stark head sculpt lying around, this is the improved version from the Mark 85. It's compatible with the Mark 80, and the best part is, you don't even need to switch out the collar piece. It's not gappy, the neck does look slightly long, but I reckon he just gets away with it. I am tempted to display him like this every now and then. I'm glad to see that it's totally an option. Wrapping up on the D23 exclusive Avengers Campus Mark 80 Iron Man. First off, it's been an absolute blast reviewing this, and it's an honor to get to look at something so early and, like I said in the intro, do my part when it comes to announcing this figure to the world. It's truly one of their best diecast Iron Man figures. They've learnt a lot from the Mark 50 than the Mark 85, and they've applied all of the stuff they've learnt to this piece. New, bigger, rounder shoulder pads, better traps, new chest armor, tighter gaps and tolerances for everything, including down for the thighs, which I know a lot of people hated with the Mark 85. And with him being based off something real rather than just a figment of Hot Toys' imagination like the black gold chrome Iron Man Mark 7, he makes even more sense to me. Like, if you've gone to Disneyland and you've taken photos with Iron Man in this suit and you want something that is going to remind you of that experience, this guy is probably going to do that for you, and he comes with a bunch of really fun accessories. You get the shawarma, you get the blueprint for Stark Industries Complex, and you get the Iron Man Spider Bot. So if you've got D23 Spidey and you want to have the bots duking it out in the collection on the display bases, now you can absolutely get that done. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the last D23 Avengers Campus Marvel figure that Hot Toys decides to give us. We'll just have to wait and see. We only get one of these pieces per year, so next year, mark your calendars, fingers crossed, we get another really cool Avengers Campus figure. At the end of this, am I happy with how he turned out? Absolutely. I've been singing its praises, and that's because the Mark 85 was already fantastic. This takes everything that one did well, changes up the color scheme, adds in some new armor, and ends up being a home run. Some people may even prefer this to the Mark 85, and if that's you, I don't blame you at all. I'm starting to get there myself. Now, if you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button? If you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video. Part on two separate